Hello and welcome to this episode of The Issue, where we examine pressing matters affecting the nation. My name is Victor Mwila. Our focus on this episode is the ambitious target that President Hakainde Hichilema has set to boost maize production in the country from the region of about 3 million to 10 million metric tons annually by 2027. In line with this vision, in March 2024, the President launched the early maize harvest production in Mukushi, where he called on farmers countrywide to start engaging in early irrigated maize production to cushion the adverse effects of droughts. How does the Agricultural Institute of Zambia perceive this goal, and what role does it envision playing in achieving such a significant increase in maize production in the face of climate change? My guest in the studio today is Agricultural Institute of Zambia Chief Executive Officer Matthew Ngosa. Mr. Ngosa, I would like to welcome you to this edition of the Issue program.
Thank you very much.
Now, as I introduced the program, I talked about the ambitious target that the President has set for this country, that we should now start producing maize from the region of about 3 million metric tons to about 10 million metric tons. So before you get into that, though, I would like you to share with us just your mandate as the Agricultural Institute of Zambia. What do you do exactly?
Thank you very much, Victor. You may wish to know that the Agricultural Institute of Zambia was established by Act number 2 of 2017. And on that score, it was effectively made operational by an SI 19 of 2023. Our mandate is to register all agricultural professionals and regulate their professional conduct. And when we talk about agricultural professionals, we are talking about anybody who has been trained and certified in the science of agriculture, with the exception of the veterinary health practitioners. So that is our mandate. Now, it goes beyond just those two. We are also there to ensure that we promote ethical practices and ensuring equitable benefit from knowledge-sharing initiatives as an integral part to our mandate of regulating the professional conduct and also just registering professionals. So we have other roles that we undertake, such as setting standards and also codes of conduct. These standards encompasses ethical principles, professional integrity, and responsible behavior, which is aimed at safeguarding the interests of the agricultural industry in this country. Alongside that, we are involved in enforcement and compliance. We are responsible for the enforcement and adherence to the established standards and codes of conduct within the agricultural profession through monitoring activities, conducting inspections, and investigating complaints of misconduct or unethical behavior. And we have a disciplinary mechanism in place which helps to address such violations. Moving again on the same roles, we are there to promote transparency and accountability on the part of the professionals. The Institute requires that professionals disclose their conflicts of interest, uphold confidentiality agreements, and accurately represent their expertise and qualifications when engaging in knowledge-sharing activities. So that is who we are. We do not end there. We still play a role in equitable access to information. We are serious advocates for equitable access to agricultural information and resources to ensure that knowledge-sharing activities benefit all stakeholders in the industry, regardless of their scale of operation or socioeconomic status. So you can see that we are playing quite a critical role. And we involve ourselves also in capacity building and empowerment, Here we are prioritizing capacity building and empowerment initiatives aimed specifically at enhancing the skills of professionals, their knowledge base, and capabilities of agricultural professionals. Last but not the least, we are also involved in stakeholder engagement and collaboration. And this is very important for us as Agricultural Institute of Zambia. We engage with stakeholders across the agricultural value chain to foster collaboration, dialogue, and partnerships in knowledge-sharing initiatives. So you can see that we have a mammoth task before ourselves, which I think once applied equitably, we should be able to foster the growth in the agricultural sector without any much challenge.
Talking about the value chain, then the agricultural value chain, that informs us that you are a very serious and important stakeholder in the agricultural industry.
Indeed, indeed.
So then my question is, how do you perceive the goal that the president has set, that we should move from where we are, around 3 million tons of production, which we do as a country, to scale that up to 10 million metric tons? How do you perceive this
Victor,
goal?
I'll answer you very, very loudly and clear. We are a professional body. And when there's a presidential pronouncement, we take that as a challenge. We are not that kind of a group that becomes pessimistic. No, we get that as a challenge. Yes, it's an ambitious pronouncement, yet it's achievable. Why do I say so? It's because I want to believe that with the right strategies and support, I think the president's pronouncement is realizable. All that is needed is concerted efforts across various fronts, which includes technological advancements, improved farming practices, enhanced infrastructure development, access to finance, and above all, policy support. So as the AIZ, we envision ourselves playing a critical role in achieving this goal by contributing our expertise, our research, our support, and also our innovations to enhance agricultural productivity. Among many things I think we would want to emphasize is research and development. So our role will be to lobby all interested stakeholders for support towards local and adaptive research, especially in the development of high-yielding crop varieties that are resilient to pests, disease, and climate change. You just mentioned rightly that we are coming from a serious predicament of drought. And we want to focus our energies more on breeding programs which will enhance traits such as drought tolerance, disease resistance, and also nutrient efficiency. We saw serious crop failure in most of the parts of this country during the drought period. And what we concluded from our own perspective was that we did not have the right material in the field. Yes, we have had messages talking about drought-resistant crops, but what we had were drought-tolerant crops. So we're going to work hand in hand with all these research institutions and seed developers to ensure that the message that we get to the market is right and the product that we put on the market is right. I think the advent of the drought has opened up a lot of scientific thought, and AIZ wants to be part of that. So we see ourselves playing a critical role because we are able to bring on board all players, be it public, private, NGOs, including academia, so under one umbrella. So we should be able to call ourselves a think tank in the agricultural sector. And we are only a few months old. We're trying to find our feet, but we want to believe that we are a critical stakeholder in the development of agriculture in Zambia.
Sure. So when you get into Mukushi, what you find there is that you have these commercial farmers, big farmers, and you also have what you may refer to as smallholder farmers. Are there programs specifically targeting these? How are you working to ensure that, of course, there's a gap. We have to accept there's a gap. We have these commercial farmers and we have smallholder farmers. What these larger farmers are able to do, smallholder farmers may have challenges doing.
Yes.
How are you looking at that?
Well, I did mention that we are a professional body made up of professionals. First and foremost, you must also realize that our extension service in this country for many years has actually collapsed. And our role as Agricultural Institute of Zambia is to strengthen the extension education programs by way of empowering our professionals so that they are able to deliver the right messages to the farmer. Coming to your question, as AIZ, yes, we cater for all categories of farmers. One of the issues that we may do to assist is through technical assistance. And like I mentioned, we are going to build capacity. It's one of our major programs among the professionals, especially those that are employed or providing some kind of service to the commercial farmers. Secondly, we're going to lobby for proper policies. You know, commercial farmers, given the right policies, can actually turn Zambia into a breadbasket, you know? But the inconsistencies in our policy is what has caused them to be in the state they are today. They would go for crops that would give them money. They would go for crops that has no, if you may wish, political control, and where they can make profits. But with proper policy, the commercial farmers, I can bet with you, are ready to come on board and support the president's vision. Apart from technical assistance, we also have to ensure that there's access to technology. Here we are talking about cutting-edge agricultural technologies. And commercial farmers are very primed in terms of adopting such technologies as compared to the small scalers. So we'll be talking about precision farming techniques, mechanized planting, harvesting machinery, and modern irrigation systems. But for all these, it means the knowledge has to be conferred to the professionals so that they are able to deliver the right messages to the commercial farmers. We see ourselves also getting involved in market intelligence. I think the commercial farmer right now is bleeding in terms of accessing market intelligence. AIZ will provide that platform for them. So we'll be able to share market intelligence information on price trends, export opportunities, and also value-added processing options to help the large-scale farmers make informed decisions and maximize their profitability. When you look at the goal, it's coming from 3 million on average to 10 million. That's triple the production. This is a significant jump. But like I said, it's realizable. Only when we do what I'm talking about now, we should be able to be there. I can refer you back to the times of Keke. People were so perturbed when he talked about making diesel from grass. And some of them were saying there's no science that can do that. Eventually, we saw the coming of the jatropha, and we started making fuels from that. So when a president guides, the challenge falls on us professionals to begin to look at ways and exploring ways and means of realizing that. And AIZ is well positioned to ensure that the president's dream is realized. We are not only going to handle large-scale farmers, like you mentioned. We also have to somehow have something for the subsistence or small-scale farmers. On this one, the biggest issue is capacity building. We encourage the authorities, the NGOs, farmer associations to offer training tailored to the needs of the small-scale farmers through enhancement of knowledge to extension officers via activities such as post-harvest processing, packaging, and branding. So you can see that we have a role to play. We have identified the weakness in terms of the strength of the extension service, the extension education programs, be it at NGO level, be it at private sector level, be it at public sector level. There is that serious weakness. We need to strengthen the extension education programs to the benefit of the two classes of farmers.
Okay, we'll pick it up from there. But for now, I would like us to take a short break. And when we're back from the break, we'll continue looking at some of those areas that actually you have touched, because our challenge for the most part is climate change. Today we're experiencing what has been put on record as the worst drought ever in the country. And you actually mentioned this, there's a lot of crop failure across the country. So we're going to continue on that path. But for now, we take a short break. And after the break, we continue discussing the ambitious program that President Hakainde Hichilema has set to boost maize production from the region of 3 million to about 10 million metric tons annually. We'll be back shortly.
The Issue is a program that looks at topical issues happening in the country. Watch The Issue every Friday at 19:30 hours, only on Zanis TV, Channel 6 DTT and Channel 458 DTH on Topstar. Don't miss.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, we are discussing the ambitious target by President Hakainde Hichilema to boost maize production in the country from the region of about 3 million to 10 million metric tons annually by 2027. We are hosting the Agricultural Institute of Zambia CEO, Matthew Zingosa. Mr. Ngosa, before we went to break, you were actually talking about how you are intervening, taking programs to smallholder farmers to try and help them implement programs in the face of climate change. And I think this is very important. And I want us to start off from the same premise. And I would like you to look at the very fact that we have such a diverse landscape as a country and farming practices that are very different from one place to another. How are you tailoring these programs to ensure that if you're going into the northwestern province, you know you have a different rain pattern there. You go into the western, it's totally different. And we have observed in this country that rains have actually been shifting, you know, from, for the most part, the south towards the northern direction of the country. So how are you working to, because there are these different landscapes, how are you ensuring that in this particular region, your program is specific and it's really addressing the issues that they are facing?
Yeah, that's a very good question. If you heard me right, I did talk about the drought and climate change. If you look at the two, we are experiencing a situation right now in this country where the agroecological conditions are changing. And we should be able to notice that the three regions that we have, the three agroecological regions that we have, there's a lot of diversity that has happened due to climate change. So as AIZ, we are believing ourselves to come in through a combination of localized approaches, participatory processes, and also context-specific interventions. That's how we are viewing the whole scenario. The first thing that we will do, we are serious advocates. We have to advocate for or lobby for certain interventions to occur. We take it that we are serving as advisors to government because we are able to bring on board or under one roof all the big brains you can think of in the industry. I mentioned from academia, from the private sector, from the public sector, from the NGOs, and any other interested stakeholders, the farmer associations, mention it. So first thing first, I've just mentioned that we are seeing a shift in the ecological setup in the 3 ecological zones of the country due to climate change. So from our perspective, the first thing that we'd want to lobby or advocate for is regional needs assessment, so that we begin to reposition or maybe rediscover the agroecological zones. We'll lobby for comprehensive needs assessment and baseline studies in the different regions of Zambia to understand the unique agricultural landscape, the current farming practices, and the current agroecological conditions, the socio-economic dynamics, and the challenges that the farmers are facing in those regions. And once we have understood that, we would want to provide real-time valuable insights into the specific needs of each agroecological region. Our belief is that if we went back to customized extension service provision, we should be able to address the challenges that farmers are actually facing in the different agroecological zones with regards to climate change. Also, we'll be looking at adaptation of technologies. We'll be recommending adoption of tailored agricultural technologies, practices and innovations to suit the agroclimatic conditions, soil types, and cropping systems prevalent in different regions of Zambia. You know, that's what we call customized extension education, which will birth the adoption of tailored technologies in those areas. We're also talking about localized adaptive research and demonstration sites. We are talking about localized adaptive research. We will partner with established local institutions that are involved in research, and by way of creating demonstration plots in the different regions of this country to showcase the best practices, test new technologies, and validate innovations under local conditions. That way we believe we will be able to show to a farmer, and the farmer will be able to accept that these innovations will work in their locality. So as AIZ, we are very well positioned in terms of helping farmers adopt these innovative approaches and also adopt the proven practices that are relevant to their specific context.
That sounds very good, Mr. Ngosa. Now, what's been the biggest challenge in this country in as far as extension services are concerned? Why is it that extension services have not worked as much as perhaps envisioned by from a long time ago when they were set up? What's been the biggest problem?
The biggest problem is funding. And as a country, we have never prioritized research and development. I can tell you, believe me, there's a lot that ZARI is doing, which is not known to most of us. A lot. There's a lot that the private sector is doing, which is not known to the entire country. With proper funding to research and development, and we have a body like AIZ, which will be able to bring to the fore the inventions, the innovations, the technologies that are locally being developed by these distinguished men and women who are scientists in their respective fields. We should be able to address the issues that pertains to climate change and drought being specific. But because of funding, all these efforts becomes limited. So funding is an issue. Then number two, the extension service collapsed because the ratio of the number of farmers to one extension officer drastically went up to a point where the extension service became ineffective. So that is another big challenge that we have at the moment. So if we quick jumped the extension service, we strengthen the extension service education, we get the right ratios that these extension officers are able to meet in a given time, we should be able to get back to where we were before.
If you look at this target that the president has set, you know, from 3 million metric tons to 10 million metric tons annually by 2027, as a stakeholder, what do you think are your priorities and key strategies that should be implemented?
The first thing that we intend to do is to explore incorporating the advancements in technology to empower professional knowledge and enhance the capacities of our professionals to meet the President's production targets. And this will be done through various initiatives aimed at promoting the adoption and utilization of modern agricultural technologies. One of the things that we are going to prioritize is digital extension service. I did mention that we need to strengthen the extension services. In its format now, it's not practically feasible for the extension service to deliver, you know, what the farmer expects. But we can go around it. And the only way we can go around it is to encourage digital extension services. So as AIZ, we'll be advocating for the implementation of digital extension services using mobile apps, SMSs, platforms, and online portals to deliver agricultural information, advisory services, and training materials to the farmers. But these must be censored, and AIZ will be able to do that. But we'll be asking for input from the professionals, and then we build these apps. And farmers should be able to access this information through our apps, and that will enhance extension service and knowledge to the farmers. Secondly is the promotion of precision farming techniques. Sorry about that. We want to think that promotion and adoption of precision farming techniques, such as the GPS, guided tractors, drones, satellite imagery for precision planting, fertilization, irrigation, and pest management. These are key for large-scale production. But where a small-scale farmer can afford, also these are key. These technologies will allow the farmers to optimize resource use, minimize input wastage, and increase crop yields. Climate-smart agriculture is one thing we shouldn't forget. You know, we will ensure that we put all our support into the adoption of climate-smart agricultural practices and technologies that will help our farmers adapt to climate change and mitigate its effects. We want to think that through the use of climate-smart practices and the use of drought-resilient crop varieties, conservation agriculture techniques, rainwater harvesting systems, and agroforestry practices tailored to the Zambian climatic conditions, we should be able to answer to the presidential pronouncement of 10 million. I don't doubt.
Mr. Ngosa, I would like to thank you so much for accepting to come and appear on the issue program.
Thank you so much. And we are so grateful that you invited us. Please, anytime there's such issues, remember us. We are there for service.
We'll definitely come back to you again and knock on your door, because this is something that is continuing, and we'll be needing professionals like yourselves to come and have a brief conversation with us on such matters.
Thank you very much.
There you have it, an important discussion on Zambia's ambitious target of boosting maize production in the country from the region of about 3 million to 10 million metric tons annually by 2027. We have discussed the role and importance of stakeholders working together, like the Agricultural Institute of Zambia. My name is Victor Mwila. Until next time, thank you for watching.